Before us really came about when we started to feel that cities were really getting crowded and not so pleasant to live in. The quality of air was too bad, the food we ate was really outrageously bad. And that's when we started to think if we could set up a place where one could lead a healthier lifestyle, one could really participate in re establishing that connection with nature, that connection with the community, where one could retreat into a sanctuary of sorts and revitalize themselves and come back. That's how Before Us was born. So it was more a reaction to the state of things rather than an utopian vision that gave birth to it. This one poem summarizes everything we had in mind. If I look back at the last 10 years of my life and see what phrase have I said the most, have I used the most, and it has to be no time. I've heard this often. I've heard other people say it. I've said it many number of times. And if I look back now, I think, what does it really mean? How can we not have the time to just look up at the sky and just marvel at the stars? How can we not have the time to just listen to the birds? I mean, they're all there. It doesn't take a lot of time to just take a look up. That's what the city does to you. You just get too busy, too caught up in the rat race, and that's what we wanted to disrupt. So when we started to think about what could really break this chain of events, we realized farming was an important tool to re-establishing that connection with nature. And because food being such an important part of our lives, the quality of food that we eat is abnormally low in the cities. So we thought, why not set up a farm where people could go to participate in the farm activities and get a glimpse of how a sustainable life would be. This is when we thought of permaculture as our primary medium of growing, because we essentially wanted to grow back a forest. Nature. So when you look at a landscape, you identify the different stakeholders, the different components of it, and ensure that each entity, you list down the demands, the needs, and the produces of of every entity in that landscape, and you make sure that the demand of one entity is met by the produce of another entity. So it's some sort of a scientific framework, and actually that helps us establish the full circle, um, essentially effectively helping us grow a forest in practice. However, this forest would be different from a naturally grown forest because what we plant in the forest is by choice designed to be economically valuable to us as well. That's where permaculture is very different from natural growth, and that suited us the most, so we adopted it. If you imagine staying at the forest, there are plenty of components, there's plenty of value additions to your life. Today, there are a lot of things that are missing in the city that were present maybe 25, 30 years ago. Birds are a big example. Sparrows are almost non existent today. At Beforest, though, you get to wake up to the bird calls. There are plenty of such things that really pull you back into the midst of nature, help you really synchronize your body, mind, and soul to nature. There's several such components, be it waking up to the bird calls, being heading out on the trails, maybe the fresh food that's right outside your home. You could just pull it off a tree. Today in the city, for example, an apple that you eat is on an average about 11 months from harvest, effectively killing all the antioxidants. So the maxim, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, doesn't really hold true today, because what you're really having is a ball of sugar and carbs, maybe some vitamins in there. But at the forest, you get to have fresh fruit. You could pluck it yourself from the trees outside. The most important thing, though, is we give people a chance of growing things. There's a certain magic when you grow a plant. You invest a lot of effort into it, you invest a lot of emotion into it, and the reality is that not many people know is that the plant invests it back in you. There is a certain handshake that happens, and when it really happens, it's true happiness. I think introspection is a forgotten concept in the cities. We are so busy, so caught up in our own lives that very rarely do we actually sit by ourselves, close our eyes, and think and introspect. At Beforest, we wanted to give ample opportunities and ample points where introspection is naturally encouraged. Sunset points are one such aspect to our landscape. I personally believe that there is really nothing like an amber dusk that really helps you think deep and get in touch with your soul, and maybe even write poetry if you like. Something that my grandfather once told me, if you follow the birds, you'll be all right. That's such simple words hold so much wisdom. Uh, when the birds start off, when they start chirping in the morning, you know it's time to get up and head out to work. And when they come back, you just come. When they head back to their nests, you come back home. The birds know everything. They're a lot more receptive to nature. They're a lot more receptive to the natural indicators around. And if you don't have to become perceptive, you just have to follow them, and you're as good. So that's something that one should follow in their life. We personally believe that, and we want to bring that to our members as well. Forest therapy is another really important aspect of Beforest. The Japanese call it Shinrin Yoku. What it basically means is the basic idea is if you hug a tree, the tree hugs you back. Essentially, not physically, essentially, there happens an energy exchange which revitalizes you. That's the belief. Whether or not it is true, what is true though is you definitely feel a lot better when you sit in a park or when you hug a tree. So I think it's really important for someone to really spend alone time with no objective amongst trees, just being in their presence. This is forest therapy, and all of the forest members get it for free. By saying you want to be a part of the forest, what it really means is in terms of numbers, you're essentially buying into a 1.25 acre unit within a 75 acre estate. The location is about 47 kilometers from the outer ring road of Hyderabad. Within this a lot of 1.25 acres, you would be getting a 650 square feet home. There are larger options available. The home is also designed sustainably using earth or other such methods. All members have access to fresh organic food for life. The surplus is sold in the market, but the first priority is to the members. Water security is one of the most important features of the forest. What we mean here is we don't really depend on the government or the municipality to supply us water. The landscape is designed in such a way that we capture, recycle, and repurpose our water, and the rainfall should be enough to sustain us. Mind you, we are not really exploiting groundwater as well, we are rather recharging it. And most importantly, you have the satisfaction of actually being part of something that makes the world a better place. And we're not using it as a buzzword, it's something for real. You're really revitalizing the environment, the aquifers, the soil, the air. It's all being done, and you're a part of that. You're participating in making that happen. And that's really important to us. And all of this comes to you at a price that's cheaper than a one bedroom apartment. We are not real estate developers, we are farmers who are trying to bring more people into the fold, which is why we wanted to make it really economical and affordable. Our design principles underline how much importance we place on sustainability. One simple example of this is the way we have designed our homes. The homes are not spread out villas in huge plots, but rather clustered homes. This is how we have traditionally lived. If you look at a village, all the homes are in one corner, and the farms are all spread out. The reason this happens is because some certain natural resources like water, electricity, etc., that need to be supplied into the house, it's a lot more sustainable if you're very close to the source rather than having an array of pipes and network of pipelines supplying to each house. So, which is why we believe we are building a village and not a villa, and our design reflects that. So, if you're remotely interested in sustainability or growing fresh food, or you find all of this interesting, or even if you're just curious, you're most welcome to be a part of the forest and participate in this paradigm shift that we want to bring about in the way we live. Thank you.